What's up, everybody? Tommy Bennett here, and I got my boy Easy with me. And today we're gonna do a live coaching session because Easy wants to get better at frontside 360. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch him do a 360, and then I'm gonna coach him, but you guys are gonna hang along for the ride. At any point you agree, disagree, let me know in the comments below. And if you're digging the content, definitely consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing because we're going to be putting out content all the time. Let's go. All right, so Easy, before I actually watch you do a 360, where are you in your comfort level of frontside 360, your experience, and what is the goal of the day to walk away with?
I'm pretty comfortable with front threes. I'm older, so I generally don't throw threes for fun. I throw threes when my students might want me to do one for them, show them one. I might do one like in a certification because I'm an instructor and I kind of have to, but it's not really something I usually do for fun. I want to do them for fun. I want to feel comfortable and throw them on my day off when I'm not in my uniform and have a good time with it. I feel pretty comfortable, got good amount of experience. I've definitely landed a lot of threes, but what I really want to get better at is like locking in that landing so that I can ride away with it and then hit the next feature with confidence.
I love that, and that's such a great plan and a big deal because a lot of people will throw a 360 and then land and either skid to 90 more degrees, which means you're putting on the brakes, you can't hit the next feature, or you just keep going, you keep spinning and you get lost. So the goal is to be able to take off on a clean edge and land with authority and not just land and scrub. We don't want to see that. So we're going to work on that today. I'm excited. So we're going to strap in, we're going to watch him ride, and we're going to send it. Just so you guys know, we did a couple warm-up runs through the park, so we know the distance, we know how the jump feels. So Easy just went for the 360 for the first time. My prediction is that it just felt a little bigger, felt a little more scary than you anticipated. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, that was the third time today hitting that jump. First run I did a straight air. Second run I did a cab one. That run I dropped in with the plan of doing a front three. I went a little slower. And when I got near the lip of the jump, I realized I was going a little slow and I was gonna hit the knuckle. So I wanted to land and not wipe out and get hurt. So I sort of shut down my rotation part way just to be safe and ride away from it.
Yeah. So the moral of the story, or my feedback would be, yes, just dial in the speed a little bit more so you feel good. Equally as important is commit to doing the full rotation. It's easier to absorb the impact if your board is straight down the fall line versus sideways and you're in a ready position. So let's dial in the speed, commit. So right there was a huge step forward, even though he landed and skidded back to his bum. That was a big deal mentally to overcome the gap, to be able to trust the speed, trust the rotation. So great job. So what I want to see out of Eric is be able to land on his toe side edge. The key for me is being able to pull my knees up, be able to spot the landing a little bit sooner, and then I extend my legs so that I can slow the rotation down. So if you're able to bring your knees up a little bit more and then slow it down and then trust the weight on the toe side edge. And just one more thing I wanted to add is when we're taking off the jump or landing, you definitely want to minimize your skid. Yes, naturally on your heel side edge, you're going to have a little bit of skid, and that's okay as long as it's a little bit, because what ends up happening is if you skid too much, you're going to slam on the brakes, you're going to slow down too much, and you're gonna knuckle the jump, especially as the features get bigger and bigger. So make sure you have a clean edge taking off, and most of your momentum either going into the rotation or going into covering the distance to clear the feature. It's a lot harder to do a skidded on a backside, but if you're skidding on backside, definitely figure out how to lock in the edge because it's gonna result in bigger and bigger tricks. If you keep skidding a lot on your backside spins, eventually you're gonna plateau, you're gonna have less control. And that's not the goal for you guys. The goal is to make you as awesome as possible. So dial that stuff in. And then in terms of landing the trick, I just want to clear the air. Landing the trick is being able to stomp it and not have all this crazy wishy-washy edge control. If you have like, if you're landing and you keep spinning an extra 180 and 270 and that kind of stuff, technically I would say that doesn't count. So get it authority, lock that bad boy in. If you're doing a 3, do a 3. If you're doing a 5, do a 5, that kind of thing. All right, guys, we're gonna watch the boy go. Now, let's say that you guys are landing a 360 and you happen to skid and keep it going. I would definitely say that doesn't count. We want to make sure if you're doing a 360, land a 360. If you're doing a 5, do a 5. But it's just being able to own the trick. If you're doing a 3, lock that bad boy in. But that's my goal for this channel, is to be able to help you lock it in. I'm hyped because I'm seeing a lot of progression. Yes, we want to dial in that edge in the landing, but being able to have Easy overcome the fear of doing a medium-sized jump or a bigger jump than he's used to is a big deal, and I'm really hyped on that. So we're already winning. To dial it in a little bit more, I want to ask Easy a couple questions. So you naturally go to your heel side edge. Why do you think that is?
I personally think it is because I have already opened up my upper body and I really have like no choice. My board is already going that way because my upper body is continuing to rotate.
Okay, so one thing that I see, or I think, and I'd love to be able to experiment with this, as you take off, you're at about a 20-degree inclination over your heel side edge. Now, if I were to rotate perfectly 360 degrees, where is my center of mass?
Over your heel edge.
Over the heel side edge, which forces your body to lean back on the landing. Theoretically, what I would like to see is Easy take off more vertical, and then as he lands more vertical, allowing him put weight over his toes versus weight all the way over his heels. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, as a coach, when I'm working with athletes, it's good for me to ask questions just like that, because I need to get an understanding of where their mind's at, where their process is at, and their current understanding of what's going on. It's like a check and balance, because I want to be able to just get in their mindset and then be able to either piggyback on that or kind of change that mindset. So if you're working with people, or if I'm working with you, or you're hanging out with friends, ask those kind of questions, because it ends up just giving you better understanding of the situation. So the last one, Eric and I had just discussed that we're gonna focus on having him do a 270 and then scissor his legs, allowing his lead shoulder to lag behind so he lands in a more of a countered position. By scissoring his legs, essentially speeding up his board to meet down the fall line, and then his shoulders are slowing the rest of the body down. So we're gonna experiment with that, trying to give him a couple tactics to get back on the toe side edge. I favor landing on a toe side edge because I can really lock that edge in and ride to the next feature with authority, versus land on my heels and giving my board the opportunity to skid or slam on the brake. So that's what we're trying now.
When I took off that time, my objective was to try to spot the landing in between or near my feet. So when I took off, I tried to focus on looking at my feet, which I did. When I landed, I definitely was looking at the snow right in front of my toe edge. But I think I'm still throwing my upper body a little too hard, which I can't stop. I land on the ground and I keep rotating.
And something that he had said off camera is having his lead shoulder so far open. What if this time we try to land slightly closed or in stacked position? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I would love to try to land with my right hand over my toe edge and keep it there.
Let's try it. The whole goal is to slow the rotation down enough while allowing his belly button to be over his toes so we can lock that edge in. I'm gonna go for a hike, give you guys an example, and see if we can compare the two. And something that you guys may be facing as you're trying to learn a new trick or perfect a trick is your muscle memory may be taking over, your intuitive movements are taking over, and it can be really challenging to isolate a movement or change things. So don't be impatient, don't be frustrated. Sometimes it takes 10 tries to figure it out. Sometimes it takes 100, sometimes it takes more. It's part of the game, and enjoy the process. The next advice that Easy and I came up with is that he's throwing his shoulders so hard that he's creating so much momentum that when he lands that the momentum is gonna keep going. So we're having him tone down the actual throw of his shoulders, and then again, he's gonna scissor his legs, forcing his board to go down the fall line where his shoulder's a little bit more behind. So that is the big focus. Like I said, sometimes muscle memory takes over and it's a little bit harder, but he had just said, he threw it less hard and it felt floaty and the best one. So let's see, we can just keep building on that. So already we're seeing improvements of Easy being able to float the trick. Yes, we're still trying to dial in the landing, but I'm just stoked that he's able to land so many more consecutively, build the confidence, more importantly, build the trust. So what I want Easy to do now is just really start to tone down the shoulders so that they're not keep flying through, as well as land on the toe side edge. So that's the goal. That's what we're gonna do right now. Woo! Woo!
So on that last one, I landed and I skidded, but I was able to manage that skid. So if I wanted to, I would have been able to maintain my speed to hit jump number 2, which makes me pretty psyched. That one felt good, but I know that I could do a little less throw with my shoulders, and I could also maybe try to spot my landing in front of my toe edge, which will also help me stop those shoulders as well. But I'm feeling way more comfortable throwing it off this jump.
And that's the goal. Let's go. Part of the learning process is celebrating your little wins, right? Because if you have this expectation to make it perfect, the reality is snowboarding is not perfect. Sometimes you do a little this, you do a little that. There's so many factors going on. So celebrate those little wins. I'm super pumped for Easy to have the progression that he's had. And I hope he's hyped, and I really think he is. But that helps keep his mentality up and stoked and willing to progress versus chasing perfection. Dude, Easy, let's go.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh. I saw that you were so hyped and felt so in control that you just had the urge to keep going. And that was one of the goals of the earlier in the day, was being able to land solid enough to be able to have momentum into the next feature. Dude, you hyped or what?
Yeah, so I landed that one. I know the landing could have been a little bit better, but I felt like I was in so much control and I had the appropriate speed that I was just psyched and wanted to hit the next jump.
And to piggyback on that real quick, landing in control to me is a big deal for 2 reasons. If you're a competitive athlete, you want to be able to land in a prepared position for the next feature. But let's say you're not a competitive athlete, you're just trying to go have a good time. You want to land in a prepared position to hit the next feature. Or what if there's somebody in the landing that you didn't know? What if there's a ski or rock? If you can land in a controlled position, then you have more opportunity to avoid whatever's next. And I really believe that's like an important thing to have, is to be able to land in control. So great job. Yes, you could have landed that a little better, but I'm hyped. I'm stoked with that.
So just giving myself feedback, I know that that 3 could get cleaner, but it got to the point now where if we go and we ride the chair and we're lapping the park, I would throw a 3 on this jump for fun, not just out of sort of necessity or just trying to progress. Now I feel comfortable with this size jump and throwing a 3 on this size jump, which just gets me excited knowing that I could eventually clean up my 3 more and then throw my 3 off an even bigger jump.
More of the story is he's throwing 3s for fun. And that's really why we're here. Let's go. So on that note, guys, we're gonna end that there. Today has been an absolutely sick day, super productive. And if you guys are looking for a private instructor, Easy does lessons based out of Breckenridge, Colorado. So if you guys are looking for a private lesson, you wanna hang out with the boy, all of his information is gonna be down below. Hit him up on Instagram. And of course, tell him I sent you guys. All right, guys, nothing but love. We out.